I'm Emma Lubitsch, and you're watching PNTV. Today we're here with Shailushi Ritchie from Between Friends, a Chicago-based domestic violence prevention organization. Thanks for being with us today. Can you just give us a little bit of background on what you guys do?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me on. It's a real pleasure to be able to talk to you about something that's really important and that we're seeing a rise in the city and across state and even nationally and internationally. So Between Friends is a nonprofit. We're about 30 years old, and we focus on interrupting the cycle of violence between parents and children, between partners, amongst children and other children. So it's really a chance for us to step in and break the cycle of violence. And we have 4 programs that we use to really do that work. First, we do counseling work. So we work with survivors, their children, and other members of their family in both individual and group settings. We do a court advocacy program where we help people who are seeking orders of protection or other sort of legal protections with their paperwork at the courthouses. We do a prevention and education program for young people in schools. And then we also do adult education, both with parents and then with the community at large.
So, in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis, and especially with the stay-at-home order, instances of domestic violence have just skyrocketed. So how has that impacted your work, the work you guys do, and have you seen an increase in clientele?
Absolutely. So one of the really interesting things about the work we do is that we don't work with people who are in crisis in that moment, usually. We're not working with people who are leaving their homes and going to shelter. We are working with people who are in shelter or have already left situations, but are really looking to sort of end it there and to recover and thrive after they've left their violent situations, both for themselves and for their family members, especially for children. That said, we have definitely seen an increase in requests, both for counseling services. We've seen an increase in requests for protective orders. So emergency orders at the courthouses in Cook County are still being heard. Most of the other cases are closed, as you can imagine. But if you really need to get an order of protection, you can still do that. And our advocates are there helping those people get their orders of protection. We are also seeing an increase in people wanting to understand the roots of domestic violence and intimate partner violence. And so the youth education and the adult education pieces are becoming more and more important. Our crisis line has definitely seen an increase in calls. And we're seeing both an increase in requests for assistance. For example, we do have a small fund that would allow us to help people pay for a month's rent, for example, if something happens, or pay for a car repair. And we're seeing a lot more of that because we're having clients who are leaving their abusive partners and then trying to make it on their own. And so much of the work that some of our clients do has just kind of disappeared right now. It's just not happening. So we're seeing a lot more of that as well.
And so for clients of yours who are in shelters, what does that look like right now? Like, are they at capacity?
Yeah, that has been a challenge, I would say. Across the state, it has been a challenge that shelters are moving toward capacity. It's really amazing that in Chicago, the city has partnered with Airbnb, has partnered with Uber and Lyft to help get people places to stay, as well as just get out of those situations when it's scary. And the city's been really great about saying, hey, we don't want money to be an issue. We don't want you to stay in something that's dangerous, potentially dangerous, or actually dangerous because of finances. So those partnerships have been really great. But the long-term implications have been difficult because you can only stay in an Airbnb so long if you don't have a job. And so how do we help our clients find work, find economic security, find personal security, and then sort of move forward and begin to heal and thrive?
And in terms of working with kind of those state-issued partnerships like Airbnb and Lyft, like, have you guys found that to be relatively easy to use? What has the experience been there so far?
I would say that our staff find Airbnb and Lyft and Uber easy to partner with. The system has been set up really well. So that's been really good. I think the biggest challenge is just capacity in general. We're seeing shelters fill up really quickly. Every time there's a bed, there's so much need that it's almost gone before you can get there. It's been the same thing with Uber and Lyft, that there's only been so much funding for that partnership, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And there's just way more need than that, and obviously we're not the only agency in the city. So there's just way more need than is funded right now. And I think that's a situation across the city, across the state, in terms of helping people move out of intimate partner violence situations, which is, there's always been more need than has been capacity, but the shelter in place situation has really pushed it to the forefront, because the things that used to be solutions, or at least de-escalations for people, I'm going to leave, I got to go to my job, people are not in each other's faces all the time, are just not around anymore. And so it's like being in a pressure cooker.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was reading something today, and it talks about how in a lot of cases people who are experiencing domestic violence kind of use those exits from the home, like work or errands or things like that, to seek services, so to seek counseling services.
Yes.
And that opportunity is just not there for them.
Yes, that's definitely been a challenge for our staff. I have to say that I'm so proud of our staff. We started shelter in place, or we sort of stopped seeing clients at the office that first Monday after shelter in place really kicked in, when Cook County schools were closed. And we decided, okay, we're gonna do the best for our staff, because we need our staff to be healthy before they can see clients. And they have really been able to just adapt and go with it. We've moved to video conferencing and phone conferencing, both for our court advocates and for our counseling teams, which has been amazing. But it has been a challenge to help think about, how do we do safety planning when everyone's at home? So a client, for example, can't say, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, and then come to our office. Or when their partner is gone, they come to our office to do counseling work. We're having to do a lot more safety planning and thinking about, okay, what happens if someone comes in when you're talking? What can you say? So it's sort of a safety phrase. What are good times? There's a lot more of that planning going on. And there's the added layer of confidentiality. So what kind of platforms can we use when we talk to people on the phone or talk to people on video that really protects their confidentiality? Zoom, as we know, is an imperfect system. And it's great for conversations like this, but when you really need to protect someone's confidentiality and make them almost anonymous, there are some ways in, and same with phone and same with other platforms. So we've had to be really flexible on those things.
And so in terms of working within the court system, how has that been functioning?
Again, our advocates have been really pushing the envelope and working with clients in a new way. So working with them over video, or working with them over phone. What would normally be done in person is being done, say, on FaceTime, for example, or pictures being sent back and forth over secure platforms to be like, oh no, you need to fill it out this way, or oh, let's make sure we include this information. Secondly, we've got some really great judges who are really open to doing things over video conferencing and other sort of, mobile platforms or virtual platforms. And that's been really, really great. Again, the biggest challenge is confidentiality. And then sometimes you get a judge who doesn't want to, do something over a virtual platform. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but, we have some really amazing problem solvers on our team, and our staff is so dedicated to helping survivors that they've managed to figure out end runs around some of these challenging issues.
And then I guess just to close, what are there resources that you can point people to?
Absolutely. Well, I would say, to start with, Between Friends has a great resource list. We have a crisis counselor who is available between normal business hours, and when we're not available, or when another shelter isn't available, the state hotline is a great resource. So the state runs a hotline that's 24/7 all year long that you can call, and they will actually connect you with the right resource. So if you call the state hotline and say, I need a shelter that's near Springfield, they'll direct you to the right resource. So that's been really good. Or if you need financial assistance, or if you need transportation assistance, the state hotline has everything. If you're looking for something more specific, which I think Between Friends is a really great place to start, because we're so well connected with all the other agencies in the city, both for domestic violence and intimate partner violence, but then also things like sexual assault and sexual violence and food issues and economic security issues. Our staff, like I said, runs all kinds of programs, and we're very collaborative with other agencies in the city. So if we don't know it, we'll help you find it.
Well, that's great. And thank you so much for talking with us today. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the work that you're doing.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.